Hey, everybody. Welcome to ABA Inside Track, the podcast that's like reading in your car, but safer. I'm your host, Robert Perry Cruz, and with me, enjoying the great outdoors and these fleeting days of fall, is my fabulous co-host.
And it's me, your co-host from the tent, Jackie.
It's so nice of you to camp out in our backyard so we could do this first thing in the morning, Jackie. I really appreciate it.
I love camping out in the backyard in the middle of November. I've got my sweater on. I've got my camping gear. That's, in case
Yeah, your
I
microphone
get lost.
too. You gotta bring a
And my
microphone when you go camping
microphone
these days. And a
While
video
I go
camera.
camping. And my laptop and my phone. I am hooked up electronically.
You're
in
really
here.
roughing it.
Roughing it.
I am so thankful of all the terrible things going on in the world. At least we live in one where you could technically take your recording equipment on a camp out. So,
Anywhere.
whew, good job, humans. We did it. Well, we're not actually a camping podcast, though. We are a podcast about behavior analysis and behavior analytic research, where every week we talk about the coolest and newest research on a given topic. And this week we do our preview episode where we tell our listeners and viewers, if you're watching the video version of this, what we'll be doing in the coming month, as well as some news from the previous month. So we'll be doing that right now, I suppose. So this month we are very fortunate. We have two special guests joining us for some of our recordings. So we're very, very happy to have that because, of course, one of the great things about doing the show is we have so many different topics we talk about, but they're not always topics that we are masters of or trained in. So it's always great to have colleagues we can count on to join us to share what they know with us and with you out there. So let's talk about those episodes, shall we? So November is not one of those 5-week months. We've got 4 weeks, including if you're, in some parts of the world, you get a holiday week too, which is always exciting. Might not be that exciting this year. But this month, we've got 3 episodes coming out. So the first of these episodes is going to be all about dental care, and more precisely, how to bring an individual who is a little nervous about going to the dentist, potentially engaging in problem behavior to avoid the dentist, to that dental appointment. So we have 4 articles that we'll be discussing. 3 are going to be main discussant articles. 1 is a little bit more of a background one. They are Dental Desensitization for Students with Autism Spectrum Disorder Through Graduated Exposure, Reinforcement, and Reinforcement Fading by Carter, Harper, and Lucelli from the Journal of Developmental and Physical Disabilities, 2019.
It's amazing that we have articles on this camping trip as well.
Effectiveness of Using Non-Contingent Escape for General Behavior Management in a Pediatric Dental Clinic by Allen and Wallace from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis, 2013. Functional Analysis and Generalized Treatment of Disruptive Behavior During Dental Exams by McConnell, Sassy, Carr, Slawinski, Kortenmosh, Njijallo, and Cheney from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis, 2020. And our background article, Strategies to Manage Patients with Dental Anxiety and Dental Phobia, Literature Review by Apukatan from Clinical, Cosmetic, and Investigational Dentistry.
Wow.
I think this is, the 7th or 8th article we pulled from the dentistry journals? It's the first one. It's the first one. Then we've got 2 episodes coming out with special guests. The first features special guests Warner Leland and Barbara Gross from the Sexual Behavior and Practices Special Interest Group. And the articles they recommended we bring to the discussion, or they recommended that they brought to the discussion, I guess makes more sense there. A review and treatment selection model for individuals with developmental disabilities who engage in inappropriate sexual behavior by Davis, Machelicek, Zalza, Koblecki, Campbell, Pinkelman, Chan, and Sigafuz from Behavior Analysis and Practice, 2016. The extended Plicit model for addressing the sexual well-being of individuals with an acquired disability or chronic illness by Taylor and Davis from Sexual Disabilities, 2017. And Ethics in Sexual Behavior Assessment and Support for People with Intellectual Disability by Stein and Dillenberger from the International Journal of Disabilities and Human Development, 2017. And finally, our last episode coming out this month with another special guest. That's Dr. Megan Boyle. We'll be talking all about elopement. And the articles we'll be reviewing, I think it might be the first time we've had this. All 3 articles by our special guest, or co-written by our special guest, and they are Systematic Review of Functional Analysis and Treatment of Elopement, 2000 to 2015, by Boyle and Adamson, from Behavior Analysis in Practice, 2017. Treatment of Elopement Without Blocking a Child with Autism, by Boyle, Keenan, Forck, and Curtis, from Behavior Modification, also 2017. And Evaluating a Treatment Without Extinction for Elopement Maintained by Access to Stereotypy, by Boyle, Bacon, Brewer, Carton, and Gaskill, from the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis, 2020. And those will be our articles discussed for the month of November. Whew, it's a lot of articles that we'll be discussing. A few other things coming out in November that we want to talk about in the next section of our show called Errata, where we talk about, everything else unrelated to those episodes. A couple things to start with. If you have been following our show for a while, you know that we launched our Patreon page back in September, and in October is when things really started cooking. We had our very first social meet and greet for our $5 and up patrons, and that was a lot of fun. We also have coming up this month our very first book club. So while there will be a preview coming out in the free feed, only patrons at the $10 and up level are going to be able to access that content. It's a 2-hour podcast featuring a couple of our patrons. We hope. We haven't been able to confirm that they're able to make our recording date yet, but we hope they'll be able to join. And we'll be talking about a book voted on by patrons. And those of you who are patrons at the $10 and up level, you're going to get 2 free CEs for listening to that. So that's always exciting. And you'll also get 2 hours of really cool content where we do our book club format, where we just sort of discuss a book at length in that 2 hours of time. And the book, as voted on by our patrons, and if you were not one of those patrons, well, you didn't get to vote. But there's always next time. We're going to need 2 more of these this year. And the winner... Meaningful Differences, the classic Meaningful Differences by Hart and Risley. We'll be discussing that at length. So very excited to do that, and that's coming up in just a few weeks, I think. Oh no, we're being attacked by acorns.
We're being attacked.
Don't know if that came up on the recording there.
Chipmunks.
So yes, those are our fun patron activities from last month and from this month, and then of course we'll have another social meet and greet online next month as well. Some other errata news. I'm going to pass the mic over to Diana.
Hello, Rob, and thank you for that introduction. Coming up this month, I want to make sure everyone knows that we got a new website upgrade. Woohoo!
Thanks for all your feedback, listeners. We listened and we redesigned.
Yeah, so it's still the same address, abainsidetrack.com. You'll still find it there, but we tried to make it a little bit more user-friendly, so there are ways to access supervision, ethics, free CEs on the front page. It's got these cool like rolling carousel type things. And then we had a revamp of the archives as well. So now you should be able to go to the archives page, which I think is called previous episodes page, and see from there articles sort of organized by category of interest. And that should allow you to browse them a little bit more easily. And then you can also still buy CEUs if that's what you're there for. To do that, you go to the Get CEUs page, and from there you'll see links as well to all the episodes that you can then purchase CEUs for. Although
Still at a low price of just $9.
this is true. The other news for the month of October, if we look back, is hopefully some of you folks out there got to attend the Babbitt conference that was in October. It's always a rollicking good time, and everyone knows that we love the Babbitt conference. It was a different format this year. It was online. They had a sort of a streamlined series of invited speakers, and then we helped out in emceeing, coordinating the lunch hour, which was really fun. So we're so glad that we got to do that. And then also in October was sort of a new and upcoming conference called the Stone Soup Conference, which was, again, a single-track conference featuring Dr. Judah Axe, who we've had on the show previously. And we ended up kind of getting hooked into that because as one of the bonus features on that conference series, they played the episode that we had with Dr. Judah Axe back in episode 31.
So fun.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone attended that one, but we got to listen in, and it was great. It's always great to hear Judah talk about all the knowledgeable things that he knows about. So it was cool, and we'll be looking for more from that group as well.
My only feedback enough soup. I was really expecting that to come out of the hard drive, but alas.
Well, you know, Rob, to make stone soup, all you need is stones and water.
Tell me more.
Mind blown.
I believe that's all I had to say, and I'm going to turn it over to Jackie.
Me, I'm going to report live from the tent. I'm going to tell you about some emails that we've received over the past month. Listener Caitlin has written in about episode 109, our sensory extinction episode.
Hey, Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin. Hey, girl. So she said this is a very intriguing episode. Thank you for addressing this. There are some very valid points brought up in the discussion. As behavior analysts, we must certainly do a better job on examining how procedures are functioning as opposed to their intended function. And she agrees that not doing so, we may be faced with certain ethical implications regarding fidelity. So true.
Those are good points.
This may be a big problem for clinicians working at schools or clinics that claim they do not utilize punishment procedures. The determination of whether or not a procedure was punishment is indicated after the implementation, and thus it's extremely hard to make such a claim. So she says she puts that out there, and we thank her for that. Yeah, and then we have another brief little message from a listener named Megan, who I stalked on a Facebook page.
It's okay, Megan.
Sorry, Megan. Megan was like, hey, where's some cheap CEs out there? And I was like, AB Inside Track. But again, I don't know how to link things. So she's like, have you used it before? But then I was like on with my day, and someone else wrote her back, and she's like, actually, that one is a host. So she probably has listened before. But Megan wrote me and said she took the entire day to catch up on CEs, and she bought a few of them. She likes the format. She likes how we're lively. Thanks. I feel like I'm fairly lively, especially in my tent. And she likes the pulp culture references and the nerdy references. And she really liked the puppies episode, which I love as well because she is a current foster mom herself. So way to go. Awesome. I would love to be a foster mom, but I'm not quite yet. And so she said that a professor at Illinois State collaborated with a shelter, and the shelters won because they adopted more puppies out. The puppies win, right, because they got adopted, and students get course credit or practice with that. So that's really awesome.
That's
something
very cool.
that I've been trying to do for my entire academic career and got shot down many times. So maybe I should reach out to this Illinois State professor. But anyway, yeah, so thanks for writing, Megan. I'm glad that you like the format, and we can't wait for you to listen to more. Yeah, so that's what our listeners have had to say this month.
I'll take that. Microphone back.
I get my
Thank
own.
you. Someday we'll learn how to do 3 microphones when we go camping. But, technology can only get you so far out in the rustic woods. It's 2 microphones. I know what you're saying. Well, that brings us to the end of another fun-filled preview episode for ABA Inside Track. We've got a lot coming up this month we're very excited about. A lot happened last month, which we're also excited about. But as you can tell by the squinty expression I've had this whole video, the sun is rising high. So I think let's go take a quick hike, and then we've got to break camp and get back to civilization where we could have 4 or even 5 microphones and multiple cameras around us at all times. But that's a problem for us. So you don't need to worry about that. You just enjoy all the episodes coming out. And hey, you know what? If you'd like to reach out in the meantime, again, we might be lost in the woods, but we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. There's a lot of ways to do that. You can check out the new website design at abainsidetrack.com, unless I've broken it, in which case it's broken, but hopefully it won't be. We've also got social media. You can find us everywhere as ABA Inside Track, or on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find all of these episodes as well as any of the videos we do on YouTube, our YouTube page, where you can get the YouTube subtitling feature. Another nice bonus of going to the website directly is that you can find links to any of the articles that we have discussed in the past or will discuss in these future preview month episodes, as well as feel free to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/ABA Inside Track, if you'd like to join us for that upcoming book club or get some discounts in our CE store for patrons in the future, as well as some new merchandise coming out. And of course, there's There's always some merch. There's always the quickest and the oldest school way. Email us at abainsidetrack@gmail.com.
Or write us a letter.
Or you could also write us a letter at 123 ABA Street, where we're located.
Throw it in the wind and it'll get here.
Just give it hard wishes of ABA podcasting, and it will blow towards our doorstep.
Towards my campsite.
Towards the campsite now, but when we won't be here by the time it blows here. So
Who
we
knows?
probably
I might be.
We better. Well, maybe we'll see. We might have lost Jackie to the call of the wild out here. Well, that's the end of our preview episode. We want to say thank you all of you for listening, and thanks certainly to all the folks who help us make the show. We've got Dr. Jim Carr, who did the recordings on our intro and outro. Kyle Sturry for doing interstitial music on our main episodes, Dan Thabit of Podcast Doctors for all his editing work, and Hollis Irvin of Sycamore Workshop for visual design work. We'll be back next week with the first of those full-length November episodes, but until then, keep responding. Bye!
Happy camp.
All right, I think let's go that. Get your compasses. We're going that way. Oh, okay. Jack's going back to that.